Hello everyone, Steven here from Redolessence with another fragrance review, and today we will be taking a look at a fragrance from the house of Tokyo Milk. This one is called Dead Sexy Number 6. So we do have the fragrance name written on the cap, and I'll put that up to the camera in just a bit, but a little bit of history on the house itself before we actually delve into the heart of the review. Now this is a cosmetic company that was founded by Margot Elena, and despite the name Tokyo Milk, they're actually based in the United States. They were established in the United States. Now, this is a niche house. I call it niche, not in the sense that they make exclusively fragrances, because they don't. They make everything from soaps and candles and body washes and shampoos and cosmetic bags. So a little bit of everything. They're almost like a Bath and Body Works. But they are niche in the sense that their fragrances aren't widely available or accessible. They have been a little bit under the radar, and I did happen to see this one on Neiman Marcus's website, selling for about 28 bucks. So for a 50 ml eau de parfum concentration, I think that's an excellent value. Now, I haven't really seen this one anywhere else, so I don't think it's too easy to come by, but I'm sure it's found on Amazon.com, and you can buy it for that same price, $28. I happen to buy this one in Toronto, in the Distillery District, from an antique/collectible store, and I paid close to 40 bucks on this one, so I'm a little upset at that, but at the same time, it's okay because I'm still happy to have this one in my collection. So just get down into what this one smells like. Instead of reading the notes off a website, they're written right on the bottle. So I'm going to save myself a little bit of time and not having to look at my computer for this one, and they are deep vanilla, exotic wood, white orchid, and ebony. Now, ebony is a type of wood. For those of you who are familiar with ebony, you know that it's used in making things such as tables, so furniture, chess pieces, guitar bodies, and fretboards even. So it's a very dark, very dense, and very heavy, kind of wood. At the same time, it doesn't really have that traditional woody smell. Now, of course, this one does have wood notes, but I think the one thing that the ebony wood really is bringing to the table and providing in terms of uniqueness is a peppery accord. So it is a wood that smells very peppery. Now, that in combination with the vanilla, which makes this fragrance a gourmand for sure, I would categorize it as a woody gourmand, I think makes this fragrance, or gives this fragrance the impression that there might be a little bit of cinnamon in here, or maybe another sweet spice, maybe aniseed, star anise, maybe even licorice, but it is sweet. It gives you the impression, but I don't think there's necessarily any cinnamon in here. There may very well be cinnamon, so I'm not dismissing that from a possibility altogether, but at the same time, it's not listed as an ingredient. But of course, in many cases, you do have to trust your nose, and that's what I'm doing here essentially. So it is a blast of vanilla, right? The overtone, you get a blast of vanilla. Let me just remind myself what this one smells like, and you guys get to see how well the atomizer works. Not too bad, but I guess the job done. So in the opening, the alcohol, that preservative factor of the fragrance, really serves to augment the floral notes in this one. Yeah, alright, you get that orchid. At the same time, I'm picking up probably what's a little bit of jasmine, maybe even a little bit of lily. It smells very powdery and very soapy, so maybe even a little bit of iris in this one. I love iris, so I'm glad that I'm able to pick it up in this one. So yes, it is very floral. Now, this is a fragrance that's marketed as unisex, so it's to be shared. At the same time, I think it's inclined or leaning more towards the direction of feminine wear, so for women. But you do get a vanilla bomb right in the opening, but it's very unique in the sense that it's complemented by that peppery quality of the ebony wood. But at the same time, this one isn't too challenging on the nose. Overall, I think it's a pretty nice fragrance, but it does smell a bit synthetic as well. Now, with the exception of those floral notes, it is a fairly linear fragrance. So they are very volatile and they etherealize, and they only stick around for about a half hour to an hour. After that, you're left with something very linear, so what you get in the start is what you're going to end up finishing with. So that being said, let's just get down into the rating for this fragrance. So first up is Uniqueness. This one earned a 5 out of 10. Not the best mark in the game, but I think the only thing that's really unique about this fragrance is that it has that peppery quality in the ebony wood. Other than that, it smells very synthetic. It smells like someone spilled artificial vanilla extract on a table. That's honestly what it smells like to me. I like this one. My girlfriend kind of twisted my arm into buying this one. There was another Tokyo Milk fragrance that I was planning on buying called Honey and the Moon. I preferred that over this one, but because this does have those gourmand qualities, my girlfriend loved the way this one smelled, and she twisted my arm into buying it. And I think if you had a starting lineup, this would make an excellent between the sheets fragrance, just because it is very yummy, but at the same time, it's very linear and it's very synthetic, and I could not grade it from that standpoint. So for those reasons listed, I give this one a 5 out of 10 for uniqueness. Now, longevity, this one got a 5 out of 10 as well. This one does not last. I have been wearing this for the past few days, and I sprayed this on my skin last night at about 10:30, and I slept for about 6.5 hours. I woke up quite early this morning because I had to go to work, despite the fact that it's a Sunday, and I was struggling to smell this on my hand this morning, and I just could not. And just goes to show or serve that this one does not last a very long time, and that's something that I mentioned about this one as well. Now, it is very nice and it projects very well. I did give this one a 6 out of 10 for projection, but only for that first half hour where those floral notes are really kicking in. And for floral notes, you know that they don't contribute too much to a fragrance in terms of projection. It's really those undertones, those bass notes that really help push everything out there and just really help project the fragrance. But those floral notes are really what do it for this fragrance. But at the same time, I think that's something that's really speaking volumes in terms of the versatility for this fragrance. So for versatility, I gave this one a 5 out of 10. Yes, it's unisex, it's shared, or at least it's meant to be shared, but since it's so heavy on the vanilla and the florals, and that ebony wood doesn't really give it that traditional wood smell, more of like a peppery, spicy smell, this is best suited for a woman, I would say. This is more for feminine wear. Of course, it all boils down to what you're happy with. So if you're happy wearing this, then ultimately you should wear it despite the gender. I don't believe in assignation in terms of fragrance wearing, but this is one that I see more women wearing than men, or I would picture on a woman more than I would picture it on a man. At the same time, this is one that I would picture somebody wearing in the spring and the fall. In the summer, I think that would be overkill, and then in winter, I don't think this one stands a chance. At the same time, this is one that could be worn both day and night, but I can't picture anybody over the age of 25 wearing this one. Just like Blue Sugar by Aquilina, this one is a little childish. So if you're in high school, or if you're just starting college and you need a nice sweet smell, this is an excellent chance for you to buy a fragrance that's gourmand, it's niche, and a little well under the radar, so you are not going to smell like everybody else. This is a great scent, I think. If you're a girl in high school and you're writing a love letter to like your boyfriend or a guy you like, and this is a great scent for you to just spray on the envelope or spray on the letter itself before you put it in the envelope, and that's going to have the guy, that's going to drive the guy crazy. So I think this is a great scent for that purpose, but at the same time, I can't picture myself wearing this, on a regular basis to work or to school or whatnot. So a 5 out of 10 for versatility. And then of course, lastly, we have presentation with a 6 out of 10. Now, Dead Sexy, yes, but why that name? This was named after an erotic thriller that came out back in the year 2000. So I'm left to assume that this one was released a little after that release of the novel. Or maybe it was a movie. I'm not quite sure. There wasn't too much history or too many resources on this fragrance. But for a name like Dead Sexy, I think that's very pretentious. I think that's very cocky, a little bit arrogant even. So I couldn't, I had to take a point away for that, just because I've smelled other sexy gourmand women's fragrances. Angel by Thierry Mugler, El de Lolita by Lolita Lempica, Wish by Chopard with that nice honey and milky quality, and those I think are very sexy. Chergui by Serge Lutens being another one. This one's sexy, not so much. To be honest with you, this one didn't even come in a box. I bought it from a collectible shop. They had a few fragrances from their line out on the counter for you to sample, and they just kind of bagged it the way it was. So I was a little skeptical about that. I was hoping they would put it in a box, but the bottle does look very, very nice. The one thing that I like the most about this bottle, and it's one thing that does tie into the theme and it satisfies the theme, is that in the front, and I'm going to need a flashlight for this, in the front you have the name of the house. This is the 6th fragrance in the collection. Then you have the name there, but once you hold it up to the light or you shine a flashlight through it, you get a skull and crossbones right there in the front. So I think that's the most appealing thing about this fragrance, and that's excellent in terms of its presentation. Then of course, when you turn the bottle around, being that it is a transparent glass and it's not opaque, you do get to see that skull and crossbones in there. So that's the only masculine thing about this fragrance, I think. The smell isn't very masculine itself. And then on the side here, you do have that crest in the middle with the two lions. It's embossed in there. You have the name of the house. It's a nice little insignia in there. So aside from that, it did get a really, really nice presentation, but like I said, I was turned off by the name, Dead Sexy. I think it's a little too arrogant and a little pretentious, and being that it didn't come with a box, I couldn't grade it from that standpoint, that viewpoint rather. So with all that being said, this fragrance earns an overall mark of 27 out of 50. Now I did happen to mention a second Tokyo Milk fragrance, Honey in the Moon. So the question for today is, if you have gotten your nose around this fragrance, what do you prefer? In terms of a sweet smelling fragrance, Honey in the Moon, of course, with that honey note, do you prefer this one with the vanilla or Honey in the Moon? As always, please don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and this has been Steven with another fragrance review from Redolessence.